This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotato.com.
Hey, listen!
All right, you guys, podcast time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario!
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G episode 181. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
Yeah,
We got that all squared away?
Yeah, got that squared away this time.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught it, but last week when we were talking about the movie and watching the movie, I called it episode 190.
Yeah, jumped the gun a little bit.
I did, yeah. Yeah, we still got a little ways to go before 190, but... So...
We're creeping up on it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're getting there. So, to start, let's head to the cat phone. I have to say it like Batman. To the cat phone!
Hey guys, guess who? It's Joel. Hey, I listened to when you guys were talking about things that you didn't want to see in movies, and got me thinking, what was the first movie that you guys saw that you knew your parents would just expressly forbid that you watched it? Whether they outrightly said, no, you can't watch it, it's too scary, or no, it's rated R, or whatever it is, and you know, you saw it with friends, or you saw it in a movie theater, or parents had a copy and VHS somewhere and you watched it. So what was that one movie that your parents, you knew, that first movie you ever saw, that you knew that they would just hate that you watched it, and you stuck it in anyways? Now, what's the story behind that? Alright, thanks guys.
So, movies that our parents would not want us to watch, or the first one that our parents would be very disappointed that we watched.
There's probably tons of movies. Cracking a cold one?
You bet. I haven't had a job this week. I've been drinking in the morning.
Yeah. Day drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't care anymore.
Yep.
Troy's actually sitting here, like, it's kind of uncomfortable. He's sitting in, like, just, you know, boxers and just
in a robe.
Yeah. Like, close your legs, Troy, a little bit, please.
Put the mouse back in the house.
Yeah, there's been, like, a ton of movies that I've seen that my parents probably wouldn't approve of.
What do you think
was
the first one? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you and I had very similar childhoods in the fact that our parents were very religious and very conservative.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
right.
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
And I like how I think it's so funny that Joel's just like, on VHS.
Yeah, VHS.
What are you trying to date us here?
Yeah.
For myself, it was Hannibal. I was watching it, and I knew my parents wouldn't approve, and like I finally got my own bedroom, but I didn't have a TV in the room, but there was like a living room TV that was just across, like, down the hall a little bit, and I turned it on, and then I, like, went to my room, left the door open just wide enough that I could, like, see down into it to watch the movie. I know, strategically, like, did this, and then so if I had to, I could literally just, like, close my eyes and pretend like I was asleep, and the TV just got left on, and it happened to be this movie.
Right, yeah.
But...
perfect plan.
Yeah, I know. I even, like, made sure the coast was clear. They're like, oh, I knew that they were out, like, doing their own thing, and it was good. I had, like, I think my brothers were even, like, at they had, like, a sleepover or something. I don't know.
Nice.
They were hanging out with, like, friends. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch this movie.
All right.
Yeah.
For me, it was one of two. They happened very close together.
I can't remember which one.
I can't remember.
Came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah. It was either Showgirls or Howard Stern's Private Parts.
Huh. Yeah.
It was one of those. Now, I want to say it was Showgirls because Showgirls came out in 95. I was 10 at the time. Didn't see it then.
Okay. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, me and a buddy, and got on his shoulders, and we had a big trench coat.
Pretended like walking in the
for
theater.
Showgirls, please.
I mean,
yeah.
Troy's like, I think this time I'm going to go with like a Sean Connery type of voice.
But I remember seeing it when I was still living at home. I was in the basement. We had this big TV in the basement, and we had cable. And I don't know if you remember this, but back in the day with cable, you had what was called the scrambled channels.
No.
Those were the channels that you had to pay for that didn't come with the normal cable package. So like Showtime, Stars, HBO.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so what I would do is one day when I got bored, I grabbed the remote and I just went 01, 02, 03, 04, 05.
Just to see if there was anything clear through?
Yeah, to see if there's anything on those channels. Well, I came to channel 22, and I still remember channel 22.
Channel 22.
And that was Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
And it was scrambled, but occasionally it would be somewhat clear.
Yeah.
We could,
make it out like vaguely?
Yeah, like I would say maybe a quarter or more of the screen was pretty clear. Black and white, but pretty clear. The rest was all scrambled and messed up. And that was how I watched Showgirls for the first time. Was through a scrambled cable channel. Yeah. And my mom would not be happy that I watched that. I could tell her that I watched it now and just kind of joke about it, and she'd laugh, and
we'd have a good old time.
Yeah, I have a good laugh.
Crack
about
a cold one.
Yeah. But then she would have been so angry at me. But yeah, that was my first one.
I actually went ahead and threw it up on our other page, World War G2. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if we get any responses.
All right. Yeah, I actually talked to Joel briefly about this. I called him up and we were talking, and the reason that he brought up this question is because he remembered that he and I, speaking of VHS, saw the Blair Witch Project. And that was like one of the first ones that both of us saw together. Mm-hmm. We were like, ooh, look, this is a movie that everybody's talking about.
This is, yeah. And you felt so like mature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you are in the know finally.
But I don't know about him, but I remember watching it and thinking, this is kind of stupid.
But because it added something to it because it was like rated R?
Yeah.
Okay.
That wasn't the first rated R film I've ever seen, but it was one of the earliest. Yeah.
You're like, I was 10. I remember it. Like it was yesterday.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Okay. Instead of going on a break, as we normally do, after that, I actually have a quick list that I want to talk about. We haven't done a list for a while, so I thought I'd throw one up.
And we know that everybody loves a list.
It's true.
So, yeah.
It's true. And these are 30 famous celebrities who now work normal jobs. So they're
just like us now.
Yeah, exactly.
Taken off their pedestal and forced to work common jobs.
Except they're probably still going to like conventions and getting paid royalty checks and, stuff like that.
Okay.
But other than that, just like us.
Just like us.
So
I really hope there's one person working at like McDonald's and is a Whopper Flopper.
I actually haven't looked through all these, so maybe. So the first one.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. First one, though, is Peter Ostrom. Now, you may not know the name, but you've seen the film he was in. He was from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He played Charlie Bucket. And he is now a veterinarian.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but a large animal veterinarian.
Okay, not small animals.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willy Wonka apparently was his first and last film. He only did one, and that was it.
Next, this isn't the life for me. This one messed me up too much.
Jeff Cohen. Film he's known for, The Goonies. He played Chunk on The Goonies. Job he has now, he's a lawyer.
What?
Yep. He is.
I don't know if I'd want him as a lawyer.
Apparently, he's fairly decent. He's an entertainment lawyer. So,
okay. So, I mean, I guess he would kind of know the ins and outs and probably working with people's contracts and if they violated it.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that makes kind of sense.
And he's no longer fat. He's actually very skinny.
What?
So he's not Chunk anymore. Now he's thin. Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yes.
Now this one isn't quite fair because she still does some acting.
Like those low budget films.
And she does a little like voice acting and stuff like that. But what she's known for, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Her job since Fame, she's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like saying I'm between jobs.
Yeah.
You know? I'm dabbling in quite a few different things. I'm an entrepreneur.
Let's see. She co-founded Food Stirs, a cooking and baking kit company that deals in organic and non-GMO ingredients.
Oh man.
So she's one of those save the animal hippies. Next, we have Angus T. Jones.
Good old Angus.
Who we've talked about before.
He was on 2.5 Men?
2.5 Men, yep. He is now an event planner.
Really?
Yep.
For what kind of, I mean, I would love to have him DJing, like, your party, your event. You know, he's like, welcome, you know.
If he became a DJ, he better be DJ Half Man. Because seriously.
Yeah.
Capitalize on the fame.
He, man, kind of really put his foot in his mouth and, like, screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah, he messed that one up.
Like, dude, just ride that golden gravy train to the very bitter end. Like,
that's what I would think.
Mm-hmm. He only had to, like, occasionally make cameos, and they kept putting him less and less in the show.
Shut your mouth. Take the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
do what Charlie Sheen did.
Yeah, and then after the show's done, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Gene Hackman. Obviously, he's had a very long career in Hollywood. Oscar winner. Now, he's a writer.
Okay. He's writing tell-all stories.
Historical novels. At his home in New Mexico.
Okay.
So there you go.
He's like, I've always wanted to be a writer.
I'm trying to remember the film that his last film before he retired. I can't remember. It might have been Enemy of the State with Will Smith. I can't quite remember. Mara Wilson. Another name you may not know, but you've seen her films. She was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Matilda.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. She is now also a writer.
What?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Her new profession as a writer. So after she grew up, she no longer wanted to be an actress anymore.
That's good for her, because there's far too many like young kid celebrities that like go the drug route.
That's true. I heard. I mean, she went to college.
What?
I believe. Yeah. Phoebe Cates, known for Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She was also in Gremlins. She is now a shopkeeper. Operating her own boutique store in New York City.
There you have it.
Yeah, she delivered that that famous her dad broke his neck on Christmas coming down the chimney in Gremlins and yeah. Sorry. Okay. Danielle Fishel. Us 90s kids know who that is. She played Topanga on Boy Meets World. Yeah. That first crush for a lot of us. She is now...
I think mine was probably Patty Mayonnaise. Off Doug. But yeah.
Mine was probably Gadget on Rescue Rangers.
Going the Seatlle direction.
You know.
All right. She's like, she's so smart and okay, this is making sense because you love, Donatello so much,
Yeah.
and also gadgets.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing a trend here. I might like redheads, but you have a thing for brainy
chicks.
smart ones. Yeah.
Well, I did marry someone who has an accounting degree, so which is good for me because I never have to worry about the taxes. So I just let her deal with it.
Them taxes.
Anyway, Danielle Fishel is now a journalist. She's a reporter for the website Pop Sugar and its YouTube channel. So,
she's kind of one of those
journalists, quote unquote.
Okay.
Boop boop. Journalist.
Yeah. The ones that you see like on Snapchat, like they're just like, hey,
like how we are boop boop journalists.
We are.
What? Well, we're reporting on
stories,
news,
current events.
And
I gotta start telling people I'm a journalist.
Actually, what'd be more apt is saying that we're broadcasters.
Oh man, that even sounds better. I'm gonna add that to my resume. I'm also an excellent s'more maker. Fort builder, like blanket fort builder.
Yeah. Ally McGraw, what she's known for is Love Story in the 1970s. She's now a yoga instructor, if anyone cares about that. Next, I may just do a few more here, then we'll move on.
After yoga, we know we've kind of rock bottomed it.
Karen Parsons, she was known for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was the ditzy sister, forgot her name. Hillary Banks.
Yes.
She is a philanthropist. Again, it's like how Sarah Michelle Gellar is an entrepreneur. Yeah.
I'm homeless. Please hire me.
Yeah. Next. And what I'll do is I'll copy this list and then maybe put it up on Facebook so y'all can finish it if you want. Well, yeah, we'll end on this. Kevin Jonas. What he's known for? The Jonas Brothers. Mm-hmm. He is now a contractor.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see.
Kind of a big jump.
After the band stopped recording in 2013, Jonas became a home builder and contractor, not constrictor. He made an appearance on The Real Housewives of New Jersey in his new role in 2014.
I could really see him doing one of those flip it house shows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, here, we have this like beat up 1970, house, and now we can sell it for $500,000.
You could call it like Jonas Knows or the Jonas, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not in advertising. All right. So
he gave up his career in broadcasting to become a namer.
So I'm going to put that list up on Facebook on our World War G page if you want to go through and you can finish the rest. But for right now, let's take a break. And then we come back. We got a lot of news.
Tons of all the news.
All the news to get to. So we'll be back right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
On the historic streets of Ogden, there are two kinds of people, readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back.
Nothing to it but to do it.
So, found this already a couple weeks ago. I was very excited. New Looney Tunes cartoons debuting in 2019. Apparently, I'll just read here a little bit. Sorry, it's been a couple weeks since I read through this story.
Well, they've tried to reboot and revamp Looney Tunes before, and it didn't work all that well.
Well, here's what they're going to do. Looney Tunes cartoons will vary from 1 to 6 minutes in length, with 1,000 minutes of new content to be distributed to multiple platforms, including digital streaming, mobile devices, and television.
Okay.
So they're going to have 1,000 minutes of cartoons that range from 1 to 6 minutes each, but it's going to be on various platforms.
You're like, I could binge watch that in a weekend.
Yeah. So it seems like they're kind of doing what Disney did with like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and that.
Well, even in the Clone Wars and those like other short little ones with Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you haven't seen the Disney shorts on YouTube, go check those out. Those are really funny. So it seems like that's kind of where Warner Brothers is going to get their inspiration. It seems like so.
Okay.
Let's see, featuring the return of veteran Looney Tunes voice actors, including Eric Bauza, Jeff Bergman, and Bob Bergen. Looney Tunes cartoons will debut in 2019. Yeah, there you go.
That looks like it could be, pretty interesting, pretty good, but...
And I'm happy that they're coming back, because I always liked the Looney Tunes. And it seems like so they had a kind of a big resurgence with Space Jam, right? Mm-hmm. And then they tried it again with the Back in Action. That kind of failed. And then I think they've had a couple cartoons since, but it's never really registered with people.
Right, or kind of more so resonated with them.
Yeah. And so
what they do need to do is have a Space Jam too.
Yeah. And I think part of it is the Looney Tunes are so classic and so iconic. That animation, those old cartoons from the 30s and 40s, they're some of the greatest cartoons of all time. And so when you go and try to reboot those characters and change them up and change the animation style, people don't really like that.
I think they need to make them very controversial just to cause a stir so people watch it. That's how you get listeners and viewers.
We're going to show Bugs Bunny and Lola doing it.
Yeah, on screen for the first time ever. Like, what the? Man, I have a horrible joke. Never mind. Okay. Speaking of iconic things, Stranger Things is teaming up with Telltale, and they're working in the works. There's going to be a Stranger Things game. I've always enjoyed the Telltale games, and I think what makes them kind of cool is you get these different takes on characters that you've already known, and they go down different routes and different paths, but they're still able to tell such a great story. But I feel like in their later years, they've also kind of relied too heavily on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to branch out. I love their style. They've got such a unique comic book looking style to them, but if they maybe go, I don't know where I'd like to see them go. What would you like to see happen with Stranger Things? Like a different story that you haven't seen before.
Well, I think they could stay away from the stuff with like the Demogorgon and stuff like that and focus on maybe sort of a smaller adventure.
Okay.
Maybe kind of small, not Stranger Things, but smaller things.
Okay.
And, explore the town a little more.
Day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. But, explore the town a little more. Maybe focus on some characters that haven't
didn't play a big role.
Yeah, haven't really been focused on. Explore the town, that's where I could see them going.
So they have different characters, and then you occasionally get, Will drops in, and everybody claps for, a cameo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be. And then just call it, Smaller Things.
Smaller Things.
All the small things.
Not so Stranger Things.
Yeah. It could work.
Just strange things.
It's one of those shows that actually has enough content that you could branch out and do something pretty awesome. Although, I'm sure they probably talked with the creators because they don't want to do anything that they've already have plans for the 3rd and 4th season.
Right, yeah.
Right? They don't want to step on their toes.
Yeah. But at the same time, I wonder if they're like, well, add this and this so that can kind of lead into the next season. You know?
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. You know how they sometimes will do that with toys and merchandise?
Yeah.
That people are looking for anything and everything to kind of get clues and hints on the direction that they're going.
Yeah.
They kind of put some Easter eggs in here.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that they get the original voice cast as well.
I would imagine. I don't think those kids are doing much else currently.
I mean, actually, a couple of them I've heard are entrepreneurs.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 11 is now a philanthropist.
Oh, man.
She opened her own boutique in New York City.
Yes.
Yeah, just,
full circle right
just
there. Full
give
circle.
it another 20 years and that will probably be the case.
Yeah.
Stan Lee, J.K. Rowling among new inductees into Seattle's Science Fiction and Fantasy Hall of Fame.
I didn't even know Seattle had this, and why am I not on this list?
Yeah, right?
I think sometimes they pander way too much to certain things. Not to say, not to take away from this award, but it just seems like they're really specific. Kind of like what the Emmys and the Oscars and everybody else has kind of done. They make an award that fits such an obscure and only a couple of people fit into that category.
Well, I mean, I was just reading, and with this, let's see, I'll just read this first paragraph. The Science Fiction and Fantasy Hall of Fame is adding to its roster with 4 new inductees from across the spectrum of books, comics, video games, and television. The hall is part of Seattle's Museum of Pop Culture. So I'm thinking road trip.
Right?
But the other inductees, you have J.K. Rowling, Stan Lee, The Legend of Zelda has been inducted into it, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering what else. Well, I'm sure they probably had Joss Whedon accept the award, right? Or the TV show or movie?
I think it's the TV show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other ones that you'd like to see make it in there?
Well, when you talk about comic book creators, I think Jack Kirby should be in there. Bob Kane.
Mm-hmm. Finger.
Bill Finger. Siegel and Schuster.
Any of these larger fantasy. Can you do honorary if they've already since passed on?
I would imagine.
Tolkien.
Yeah. Tolkien.
Right?
Yep. Maybe, George R.R. Martin.
Mm-hmm. What about J.J. Abrams? Maybe.
Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Of course, they may already be in there. I don't know.
That's why we need to take this road trip to find out.
I think so. I want to go to this Museum of Pop Culture.
That would be pretty cool. I'm sure they have so many different cool things on display, and yeah.
I mean, look, and it's only in Seattle. I mean, it's not that far. We could get there in 12 hours.
What are we doing here?
Exactly.
Just drive up there. Yeah, that'd be way cool. You hear that, Colton? Road trip.
Oh yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention that Colton's not here. He
a half an hour to an hour into the podcast.
Yeah. He overslept.
It's all good. It was weird. It threw me off because I'm usually the late one out of the bunch. And then when he wasn't here, I looked around looking for his car. I'm well, maybe he got dropped off for...
Are we recording today? Or
yeah, it threw me off. I'm wait, what day is it? I had to check my calendar to make sure that it was Sunday. So here was kind of a friendly debate. Mark Hamill and Chris Evans debate the powers of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber versus Captain America's shield.
It's been all over the internet lately.
Right? Although they played way too nice, I thought, in this. They're just ha ha ha, kind of we're buds.
Yeah.
We don't want to piss off any fans, but we want to have kind of a friendly debate. Because I thought originally they were going to be going back and forth at it. And no, it was kind of a little bit lackluster. I think fans make it are what's making it bigger, right?
Yes. Because I think it started as just this little question that popped up on social media, and then people ran with it, and people started arguing about it. And so they actually went to the sources.
Right. To get their answers.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill was the first to respond, and he's just like, Luke wouldn't fight a hero, but if asked to do so, he would cut it into 1,000,000 pieces. And then Chris Evans kind of came back, and he's just like, Luke wouldn't fight a hero, but if asked to do... Oh, let's see. Where's his answer? Oh, foolish. Now I have vibranium ninja stars. Which I thought, I'm like, oh man, okay.
That's pretty funny.
So then, to me, that means that he thinks that it would get cut into 1,000,000 pieces.
It would. And that is where I fall on it, is that the lightsaber would go right through that shield.
Like butter, but better.
Because lightsaber is like pure concentrated heat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's plasma. And so...
I, on the other hand, don't think it would.
Well, the reason I say that is because the vibranium shield is only... It only repels energy, you know, like with Thor's hammer and stuff like that.
Well,
it's not indestructible, is what I'm saying. It's close.
I mean, what's the Iron Man? Even his straight solid beam on it didn't do much to it.
Yes,
kind of
but
put some scuffs in it.
His repulsor ray is different than a lightsaber. His ray, I'm not sure exactly what it's made out of, but they've done on YouTube on Nerdist. You can find I think his name it's Kyle Hill, I think.
Kyle Ren.
But he talks a lot about lightsabers and the science behind it. You know, he's a scientist, mathematician, and he says that lightsabers are basically as hot or hotter than the sun. It's like that's how much concentrated energy is in a lightsaber. And so if you put that into a shield, even if it's vibranium, it's going right through it. Because it would melt that sucker. Yeah.
I mean, how long are we talking? Do you just lay it on there and put apply some force?
Well,
I think it would have a better chance if it was the Hulk or Thor or somebody pushing up against it than Luke Skywalker.
The way he talked about it with the lightsaber, if lightsabers were real, and he broke it down.
Wait, they're not?
No, he broke it down mathematically, and he talked about all the things that we've seen lightsabers do. If they're real, as soon as you ignited that thing, you would catch on fire and explode. That's how hot and powerful a lightsaber actually is.
And it's their force that's kind of making it the look that it is as well.
Well, yeah, but
You're talking about the lightsaber itself.
Yeah, I was saying if the lightsaber were in the real world and it could do all the things that we've seen in the films, that's how hot it would be. You couldn't even handle it. You would die instantly as soon as you ignited it. And so when it comes to the shield, there's not much that shield's going to be able to do to protect Cap from that lightsaber.
Okay, thinking about it, I mean, I'm thinking perhaps the lightsaber, because it's constantly in a state of moving, right? That it would eventually kind of cut through it, because it would pull the particles or molecules or whatever you want to say, it would kind of break through it. But at the same time, I'm thinking vibranium, where it's meant to repel energy, when it just...
Yeah, it's meant to repel energy, not heat. That's the difference. Because a lightsaber is plasma, which is basically concentrated. Yes, there is energy in it, but it's also heat.
I'm still not sold on that.
It's like a small nuclear bomb that you're holding in your hand. That's how much energy and heat comes from a lightsaber.
If only we had Colton here to break the tie.
I know.
I think we have to throw this up to our fans and see what they have to say about it. We'll do a poll.
Yeah. We'll do a poll. We'll throw it up and see what you guys have to say.
Because I'm not backing down. I'm like Captain America here.
So let's take a break, And when we come back, we'll do a few more stories and other fun and games. And
Shenanigans.
So we'll be back right after this.
Thanks, Joy. Hi, everybody. This is Sean Ray.
And John Irons.
And we're the hosts of Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. We're a show that has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we talk about movies and TV and cartoons, entertainment news, and every show has a different theme.
That's right. We might discuss anything from our favorite bad movies to who would win in a fight between C-3PO and the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. That was episode 41, a classic. You can download that episode and all of our other episodes on iTunes and Stitcher. We're on Podcast Addict and, of course, on our website, cosmicpotato.com.
It's special guests and movie news and geeky nerddom and nerdy geekery and lightsabers and Time Lords and Ninja Turtles all the way down. So check out Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast.
So we just watched a video about the lightsaber Captain America shield thing, and basically what it said, you can find it on Nerdist, is Captain America's shield could withstand a lightsaber attack for a period of time.
Right, if you kept hitting up against it.
Yeah. But eventually, because it is
hotter than the sun.
Yeah, and it is metal, and all metal has a melting point, that eventually it would work its way through.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you have it.
There you go. Even though there's probably people out there that will still disagree, but that's fine. Okay. So, GameStop.
Yeah.
GameStop considering buyout with Hot Topic owners interested. So we were just talking about what might be the next
business to go out of business.
Yeah, we were talking about that, I think, before we started recording.
Well, it's because we were talking about how Sears, they're shutting down some of their places, and Toys R Us has already gone. Mm-hmm. And if you don't keep up with the times, you're kind of doomed.
I know Subway's on its way out here pretty quick.
They're just not keeping it fresh anymore.
Nope. Well, I think Jared hurt him pretty bad.
Yeah. But now he's getting footlongs in prison.
That's true. And they ain't $5. They're free.
Got a buck? Get away with it.
Yeah, so the GameStop is bankrupt essentially. And so it's looking for a buyout. And apparently the people who own Hot Topic are looking to buy it.
It seems like, it kind of goes back to the big music discussion where everybody was getting, all the artists were getting tired of not getting royalties. So video game creators are kind of tired of that same thing because, GameStop provides and sells their games, but then they get games sold to they purchase games from other people after they've run their time, and then whatever they sell them for, that's just pure profit. Right. So they're cutting out all of the creators as well as Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo.
Yeah, and with video games, especially with video games, the gamers, the nerds, the geeks, they're not going to a place like GameStop to buy video games.
There's still quite a few people.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
I like a hard, solid copy. Unless it's an indie game, then I'll just buy it online.
Well, the vast majority, clearly, because it's going out of business. They're buying video games, like the hard copies, yes, but they're buying them online.
Yeah, that's true. Amazon, I'd agree with that.
So if GameStop could get into the online selling game business, they might be okay. Mm-hmm. And then you're competing with Amazon and eBay.
Amazon doesn't like competition.
No, they
Amazon will crush all. Bow down to Amazon.
They're like Disney. They want it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the monies.
I actually tweeted at GameStop. You can at WWG Podcast
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, GameStop, I'll buy your company for $2 cash or $7 in-store credit.
Oh, that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't know. The main reason I like a hard copy of a game is because then I can re-download it onto my console if I want to play it again.
No, I'm with you.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because there's so much space, you get a digital copy and it takes up a quarter of your the hard drive.
Like, I like,
gone.
the hard copies with like comic books, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I'm kind of starting to move the direction of digital copies when it comes to movies.
See, and I don't really buy movies.
Yeah.
Mm.
The only problem is I'm relying on like Vudu to have all these games, and what if they go out of business?
The streaming service, not actual Voodoo.
Yeah.
You aren't sitting in sitting in
Doing,
your apartment with like a circle of salt and
yeah. Summoning like no, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like the majority of them, you can get from like Netflix, or you can get from these different other streaming companies. But then they go away, so then you can't watch them.
Right, can't get them.
So I just kind of hope that Vudu and some of these other ones stay around for quite some time.
Yeah.
Speaking of streaming services, DC is coming out with one of their own. They are going to, but they're not just focusing just on TV, and it's supposed to drop here August, so really quickly. But it's not just focusing on their new TV shows, which are coming out, like some of them, Young Justice, which looks pretty good. Outsiders, Titans looks.
Right.
We've already seen the pictures of them Titans, and it could be awesome.
Yes, it's either going to be really cool or really crappy, or it's going to be another Inhumans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll see.
Harley Quinn, Swamp Thing. There's quite a few of them that are coming out, but they're not just focusing on TV and all of their content that they've already, like all of their old school movies, all their DC animated movies.
Right.
But they're also going to be focusing on comic books. But I kind of wanted to know your take or your opinion on this.
Well, like I said, I like the hard copy of a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
I like having it. I like sitting down with it. I like holding it. I like turning the pages, looking at all the pretty pictures.
Same. And it loses something if you just kind of like swipe left.
Exactly, because I've done this with, like, say, Marvel. Marvel's had this available for years. Once again, DC slowly limping across the finish line.
Trying to play catch up.
Years after the race is over.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I've done that, and I've had iPad, and I've read comics that way, and it's just not the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about it that's so impersonal and cold and hollow, like a machine, where you need that. I like to have the nice warm comfort of a actual comic book.
Same. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like also some of the bigger volumes that they release later on. I prefer, for some reason, comic book series once they've already finished. Because then I know I've got a beginning and an end, and I can read right through it and enjoy it and kind of binge read them.
Yeah.
I hate it when I'm having to wait for a single issue and then for them to release a volume, and I just want to all the content at once. But there is something lost. I've only done that with with manga, some of it, and it's just not the same at all.
Yeah.
But there are going to be so many different streaming. Can't we all just play nice and put them on a couple of them?
No.
Right?
Nope.
HBO, Showtime, DC, Marvel, Disney, Netflix, Hulu,
Fox, ABC,
right?
CBS. Yeah.
I mean, I know that they want to make money, and I get that, but couldn't they just put it on some of these bigger platforms?
Nope. Because Hulu and Netflix will never coexist. They don't. They're rivals. They aren't gonna.
Yeah.
Be on the same service. Same with ABC or CBS. Rivals, not never going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many egos in the way that'll never happen.
I would have to disagree because I'm thinking that they've got to do something similar to what they have out here in the West, Associated Foods.
Yeah.
Right? I really think that they have to eventually play together and put all of their new TV shows on their own streaming service so that they can compete with Net. If they're doing it on their own, you're going to get, same with what's that Star Trek show that's out? Discovery? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get those diehard fans that are going to watch it, but everybody else are just like, if I catch an episode, I'll catch an episode on TV. Or I almost feel like they need to combine their powers.
Mm. They need to Captain Planet this.
Mm-hmm. This bitch.
But and you're right. They may end up doing that.
I really think that's the only way they can survive.
Spreading themselves too thin, you know, and it's possible.
Well, DC, think they could play nice with Marvel. And
no,
because Disney owns Marvel.
Yeah,
and Disney's doing its own thing. That makes sense. So DC's. There's a lot of content out there. I just don't think they're going about it the right way.
Yeah, Disney and Marvel and DC will never do that because obviously Disney owns Marvel and Warner Brothers owns DC, and Disney and Warner Brothers have been longtime rivals for the past 60, 70 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's not happening anytime soon. No. Although, you think it'll be kind of for Image and some of these other small Dark Horse, some of these smaller independent companies, you think they'll have to jump on with DC or Marvel?
Probably.
Right? If
I think eventually, if they want to survive, they need... Because in this day and age, you can't just be a comic book company and survive. It's just, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Not even Marvel and DC could do it. They had to be bought out by a larger corporation.
Right.
Because there's just not enough sales to, generate enough revenue to stay in business. Now, Marvel might be able to do that now if they weren't part of Disney because of, the MCU movies and stuff like that.
But they've already made their bed.
Yeah. They're already...
in bed with Disney. In bed with Walt Disney.
With Mickey. Speaking of which, people being in bed with Disney, U.S. government approves Disney Fox sale on one condition. So this has been going on for months now.
They've been trying to buy them.
Yeah, we've heard that Disney's wanted to buy Fox, and geeks everywhere were either really excited or really worried about this because we could eventually get the Fantastic Four and the X-Men into the MCU. But just in the last couple of weeks, Comcast appeared out of nowhere and said, "Hey, Fox,
surprise!
We'll buy you. We got 60-something billion. We'll pay you in cash." Because Disney was just offering them stock.
Right.
We'll pay you in cash and to buy you out. But apparently Disney made a counter offer, and Fox was like, "Yeah, we'll go with him." But it was still pending in the courts because of monopoly laws and stuff like that. So the United States Department of Justice has approved Disney's bid to purchase 21st Century Fox's media assets, but they do have one caveat. Disney must divest Fox's 22 regional sports networks from its portfolio to comply with federal antitrust laws. Disney's already the parent company of ESPN.
Which I didn't know until you just barely told me that. I had no idea.
Meaning, if they were to take over Fox's local sports programming, it could constitute a monopoly on sports broadcasting in markets where Fox Sports and ESPN are direct competitors.
Because we know, you got to keep it fair and balanced. After all.
I think there's an ESPN something or other at California Adventure or something like that. And I always thought it was out of place.
Mm-hmm. And now it kind of makes sense.
Now I realize, they own ESPN. So they said, you can buy it, but you got to dump all that sports stuff.
Well, Disney wouldn't do a very good job with it. I'm sure they would leave it to their own But they would still influence it in certain ways.
I don't know. They might do what they do with ESPN, just let them do their thing, just rake in the profits.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't do that because of anti-monopoly laws.
Well, okay, we already know that they've been influenced. Because what does everybody say after they win a Super Bowl? Where are they going?
Disneyland.
Right?
Yep.
I'm just saying, like, you don't really think about it, but it goes back to the Illuminati and
oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like become a staple saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just slowly forcing their agenda. Disney!
Forcing that Disney agenda.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get your D out of here, Disney. Keep the D out of sports.
Keep the D out of sports. Yep. It might be the name of the episode.
Okay, so going along with TV shows, we might be getting something. Showtime is making a Halo TV show. And I don't know how I feel about this. Halo is kind of an ongoing, long-running video game franchise, and they do have enough content, and they have already, I think this all started from Witcher, them wanting to make a Witcher TV show, and they're like, hey, that's a good idea, let's throw our hat into the ring.
Yeah.
I don't, however, think it'll work because it seems too much like Starship Troopers or some of these other shows.
Yeah.
They're going to be focusing way too much on, I think it'll go political. It could become the next Star Trek.
Well, I think there's a way to do it. If you make it like Game of Thrones in space, I don't know, maybe you might be able to do it. Make it a big fantasy adventure, put a lot of money behind it, get really good costumes. You could possibly make it work and make it cool.
When would you piss off a lot of fans in the process?
I don't know. I think there's always going to be some. I saw the term today, fan hole. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some fan holes out there that will hate everything. But so now you've got to include enough Easter eggs. If they got one of the creators from Halo or some of the creators from Halo to be executive producers, like a showrunner, yeah, then I think it'd be in good hands. You know, it's kind of like when they got J.K. Rowling to help with Fantastic Beasts. You know, you're still in that Harry Potter universe, but at the same time you're branching out. Yeah. So do something similar to like that, to where you can appease the fans of the video game franchise, but also you can draw other viewers that aren't too familiar with it. And also, if you're going to do a story with Master Chief, something like that, don't show his face. Ever. Because that's been one of the main things in the video games, right? Right. You never see him with his helmet off. Unfortunately, I could almost see at the very end of the first season, they reveal Master Chief. Yeah. Just to do it like a Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe or like Judge Dredd. Never show their face. Or the Claw. Or the Claw from Inspector Gadget. Yeah. Or Mr. Wilson. Yeah. Wilson from Home Improvement. Yep. It's kind of like not only just a run-on Commander gag, but it's also a staple. It's one of those things that they've kept going throughout the whole franchise, so why would you not do that with the TV show? Yeah. If you do that, yeah, you're going to piss off a lot of fans. Yeah, that will piss off the fans, yes. But it could be cool. I mean, I don't think it'll go into Star Trek territory. They could make it more like Star Wars. With big, ship battles and big space armies. They're going to have a huge budget to make this actually work. Massive. Yeah. Like a Game of Thrones type budget. Yeah. Like millions, like a couple, 12 million or something an episode. Kind of a deal. But hey, if it works, could be really cool. See, it's one of those things. It's either going to work and it's going to be a success or it's going to fail.
And I think it all comes down to
No
their marketing a little bit. You know, you've got to do something because, like it or not, people are going to analyze. I've never seen so many people these days analyze and break down trailers as I do now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They nitpick the heck out of it, right?
They go frame by frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you've got to come out with something good that's going to get these fans on board, but at the same time keep them guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to make it feel like Halo, feel like you're in the Halo universe.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, make it palatable enough for your average viewer that doesn't know Halo to be interested in it.
I mean, that's going to have to be their theme. That's going to be their theme for the whole entire episode.
Yeah.
I mean, for the whole series.
Yeah.
You know, that's a pretty daunting task.
Yes.
I do not envy
No.
those people.
All right. Let's take our last break and come back. We got some movies to review.
All the movies.
Yeah, we got quite a few, so we'll be back right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality that only a record can provide?
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back. And I've seen movies.
It helps being between jobs and being an entrepreneur, Troy.
Yes. I've been an entrepreneur for a week. And working very part-time at a movie theater. Yeah. So I've seen 5.
I have good intentions, and I'm like, tonight's going to be the night that I want to see a movie. And then I just pass out. And yeah.
I know you always are like, when you're at work, you're like, all right, this is what I'm going to do when I get home. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
I got that laundry to take care of. I got to do this. And then I'm going to go play some video games. I'm going to go do some reading. And
then you get home, you're just like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Netflix and sleep.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk about...
You can't see this, but Troy's got like a stack of these tickets.
Yeah.
that he's been collecting. And this is just what? In the last 10 days? No.
Yeah, no, I wish. No, just since January.
Okay.
So let me talk about Tag first, because that one's been out for a while. So, Tag is really quick, if you don't know at this point. It's based on the story of this group of friends that's been playing the same game of tag for the last 30 years. They started when they were kids. They continue when they're adults. They only do it 1 month out of the year. Then whoever's it at the very end of the month will remain it the rest of the year until that next, till the next year, and then it goes on.
Is there some sort of a punishment attached to it?
No. Not really. But they do go to extremes to tag each other. Because if you think, if you live out of state and different, and you have different jobs and different lives that, you can, if you have the ability, if you have a job, you can hop on a plane and go fly to that person and hide out. And, they buy disguises and stuff like that to surprise people in tag. Anyway, it's a big thing.
I feel like, your significant other would have to be, your spouse or whatever, would have to be on board with this.
Yes.
You're like, hey, I'm gonna go play tag, and
that's touched on in the film.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, the film stars Jeremy Renner, Ed Helms, John Hamm, Hannibal Buress, and Jake Johnson as the 5 friends who every May spend the entire time playing tag. And one of their friends, Jeremy Renner, has never been tagged in 30 years. He's never been tagged. And so it turns out that this year he's thinking of retiring after this one last year. So they come with a plan. This year we're going to tag him.
So that they tag him, but he never ends up being it at the end of the month. Is that it?
No, they never tag him.
They've surprised him, and he's like been able to evade them.
They've never tagged him. They've never touched him.
So how does that even work? Because I mean, they could just run towards you. You have to do it in a surprise way to tag him, or can you just like run up to him and tag him?
You're overthinking this.
Yeah. Okay.
You just because they only play it 1 month out of the year, right? It's not like an ongoing thing.
Okay.
And so during that month, in the 30 years, he's never been touched. They try to surprise him, but he's one of these guys, like, they break it down to where he's like a Sherlock Holmes, or he's almost borderline like a superhero. Like, he hears them coming, or he sees them coming, or, smells them coming, and he's able to evade them.
Okay.
Right. It's so, you gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit. But, I mean, it's okay. It's not gonna like break any box office records or anything.
Right.
It seemed like this movie was kind of an excuse to get these actors together, just kind of have a good time
to see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean the acting's good. There's a lot of really solid comedic actors in this. There was we talked about it before, the lines we could tell that were improvised. Hannibal Buress, it seems like he did a lot of improv, and it's like
some of it works, but some of it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. There was one in particular,
cringeworthy.
Yeah, what was it? It's like there was an improv line that he did where it was like a common sense thing, and there's like no way that this guy is that stupid. What was it? Dang, now I can't remember. It was some sort of pop culture reference, or dang, now I can't remember. And I tried to make a mental note of that line, like, that is really stupid, but dang, now I can't remember. Anyway.
It's all these other movies you've seen.
Yeah. So out of 5, tags, I guess, I'd give it like, I'm a 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else to see, which there's quite a few other ones coming out, so
yeah, I'd wait for like Redbox or So next, let's see. I'll talk about kind of going in order here. Let's do Ocean's 8.
Okay.
Now, Ocean's 8, I thought it was kind of a remake of Ocean's 11, but it's not. It's actually kind of a sequel / reboot, because Sandra Bullock plays the sister of Danny Ocean, George Clooney's character.
Okay.
And you even see pictures of George Clooney
in the movie.
Uh-huh. So it is kind of a reboot, sequel type thing. So, yeah, what happens is Sandra Bullock plays somebody Ocean. I can't remember her name. Yeah, it's been a minute since I watched this.
Well, okay, it's kind of funny because you already know they're going to do a 9 and 10, right?
Yes, they are.
That's the plan?
That is the plan. So it's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. So
they'll do 14, 15, 16. Do exactly like what they did with Star Wars.
Yeah. Go back, do 1, 2, and 3.
Huh?
So
oh man, taking a page right out of the Star Wars book.
So Sandra Bullock plays a character, somebody Ocean. that gets released from prison, just like in Ocean's 11, and immediately, says, "Oh, I'm out of the game. I'm not gonna do that anymore." And immediately goes back and has this elaborate heist planned.
Yeah.
On the way, she recruits the Brad Pitt character, who, that's the character she's known the longest, played by Cate Blanchett. The two characters that have been friends for years and blah, blah, blah.
Form a crew together.
Form a crew, exactly. And the crew they recruit is Mindy Kaling, Helena Bonham Carter, some Asian chick named Aquafina, and Rihanna, and am I missing anybody?
I think there's 8 of them.
Well, Anne Hathaway's also in it, but anyway. And so their big plan is they're going to go and rob the big Met Gala that's held every year in New York. Specifically, the necklace that is hanging around the neck of Daphne Kluger, played by Anne Hathaway, who plays this multi-Oscar winning actress who is pretty much very in love with herself. So I think it's kind of Anne Hathaway kind of parodying Anne Hathaway.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I think
that's the idea.
Yeah. Now, here's my issues with it. I like the Ocean 11, 12, 13 movies.
Well, because what it is something's going to go down, it's going to happen. Even the victim potentially knows that something's going to happen, and they can't prepare for it. They can't stop it.
Yeah, but the other reason I like those movies is because you buy George Clooney and Brad Pitt as these con men. You can totally see it.
Right.
They sell it. I don't buy Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett as these criminals.
Yeah.
As con artists. I don't see it. And it has nothing to do with them being women. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Now I see.
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. There are plenty of films that show women as criminals and you totally buy it. It's just those two I just don't buy. Maybe because they're so
like mastermind.
Well,
plan.
Yeah, maybe because they're so well known, or I don't know, because George Clooney and Brad Pitt are really well known, but for some reason, I don't know, I just saw them more as con artists than these two. And so I never really bought that they were criminals. Seasoned criminals. And then when the plan starts to execute, when they execute the plan, it goes off, spoilers, perfectly.
Yeah.
There's no problem. There's no conflict. Nothing.
Oh,
and I thought that was so bizarre because I kept waiting, right? Oh, something's going to go wrong. They're going to have to improvise.
They're going to
yeah. But no, it never happened. And that was so weird to me. It's like even if there was some sort of conflict, you had Rihanna on the computer that could, hack into whatever, and she was like God, basically. She do whatever she wants from a computer. So once you bring that into the mix, there's no conflict.
There's no threat.
No, there's no threat. That was the biggest thing. You never felt that these guys, these women, were ever in danger of being caught, were ever in danger of, not succeeding in their mission.
Yeah.
And it starts to get boring.
That would, because one of my favorites, like recent favorites, have you seen Logan Lucky?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched that again recently, and I love how everything that could go wrong does go wrong.
Yeah.
They still are able to make it work.
Yeah. It's a redneck Ocean's 11.
Basically.
Yeah.
And you do buy in that Daniel Craig is a seasoned criminal. Or, you buy into these characters.
And you buy in that Channing Tatum and Adam Driver, these kind of bumbling idiots. And
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so out of 5 diamond necklaces, I'm giving it I'll give that one a 1.5 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Redbox, if you do want to watch it.
Yeah. And they kept talking about how big Anne Hathaway's boobs are, which is odd. That kept bringing that up. It was weird.
Well, she's more of a praying mantis.
It's not that I minded.
Yeah.
You know.
Bring it up all you want.
It was just weird that kept being kind of this weird
run-on gag.
Yeah. All right, next, let's do...
You're saying this like it's a team effort here, Troy. Like,
I know.
You've seen all the movies.
I know. Let's go to...
Ooh, let me choose this one.
Well, if I'm going in order of release, let's do Incredibles 2 next.
Okay. That one is one I have seen.
Yes. Incredibles 2, I wish Colton was here because...
I know he'd have a lot to say on it.
He's been waiting for this movie.
Mm-hmm. His whole childhood, it's basically his story, his origin story.
We'll have to get his take on it next week. So yeah, this is obviously the sequel to The Incredibles. It came out in 2004, and in this one we follow up with the Parr family right after the events of the first one, which I liked. They pick right up where they left off. And you get this guy that wants to bring superheroes back into the limelight. He wants to make society trust superheroes again.
Make them to where they're not in the shadows.
Yeah. And the way he does that, he recruits Elastigirl. They do, these secret missions and everything. And so while she's off doing that, Bob, Mr. Incredible, is taking care of the kids at home.
He's a trophy husband.
Yeah, he's a stay-at-home dad, essentially. And then go from there. This movie was fantastic. I loved this movie.
Yeah.
I really did.
I think you might need to see this one a second time. Not that it wasn't like great, and I really did enjoy it. I don't know. It seemed like it was... I mean, because it's been so long ago, I did go back and watch it, and it seemed like they kind of revamped and did the same thing again. Which you're like, I'm perfectly fine with.
I am, because here's the thing. Yes, the villain was weak.
Mm-hmm.
Give you that. Syndrome was a much better villain.
Oh, yeah. He was way more menacing.
That wasn't the point of the film. The villain was just kind of the B story.
Right.
The point of the film, to me, was this family dynamic.
Yeah.
And having the wife go off and the one that is working, and having the husband stay home and taking care of the kids, which this takes place in the 1960s, 1962.
Which wasn't
done.
Exactly.
And so... at its core, it's a story about family and being able to stick through anything as a family,
and
no matter what happens.
Evolving. Yeah.
And kind of rolling with the punches. To me, that's what the story was about. And in that aspect, I think it works really well. Now, yes, when they do get to the villain, the Screenslaver, which I had a problem with that name. That was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Because that's a take on Screensaver, but it takes place in the 60s where screensavers weren't a thing. And so, anyway. Yeah.
At least get your time period correct. If you're going to do a time period piece, be consistent.
Yeah. But, besides that, I think the action scenes were great.
Some of those fight battles that they had going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Fox, I know you're listening. You can do a Fantastic Four movie and do it well, because look at what they did with The Incredibles. Yeah. Look at the stuff that Elastigirl did with those powers. You think that, a stretchy powers are dumb? No. There's so much you can do with those powers.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to have
your imagination
and be creative.
Two things that Fox lacks.
Fox is not.
That's why they're selling out.
And I thought, and I've heard that people didn't like the stuff with Bob taking care of the kids. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I love seeing him try to handle all that and
using his abilities to try to handle it as well.
And the stuff that little fight scene between Jack and that raccoon made me laugh so hard.
Oh yeah.
That I had to sit and watch it again when I was working in the theater because I know there was stuff that I missed because I was laughing so hard. It was fantastic.
Pun intended.
And yeah, I think it was a perfectly fine sequel. I think you enjoyed it a little less than I did.
Yeah, no, but
I'm getting the vibe.
I definitely still enjoyed it. The animation was like on point.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, the animation, the facial features when Bob is kind of losing his mind is so great and incredible, pardon the pun, but it is. There's so much like little nuances that they put into his face and so much little features and emotion, and it's just...
It didn't seem... I mean, you know how like the first one, they kept it on pace so it didn't seem out of the whole same universe, even though it's so many years apart from each other.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the technology and stuff that they have to where they can just add those little things. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and there was a kind of a shimmer to their costumes. Everything had a bit more depth to it. Yeah, it was fantastic. Incredible, one might say. So out of 5 capes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing. Did you notice there was a bunch of superheroes in that, but not one of them had a cape?
I did.
Not one. I thought that was funny. Yeah, out of 5 capes, I'm giving it. I'm probably 4.5.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm probably closer to 3.5.
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I had a blast watching this.
So with our scores, I guarantee you, like, okay, do you want to take predictions? What Colton said?
Colton will say?
Yeah. I'm thinking 5, dude. He's like at a 5-star for sure.
I think
4.5, 5, 7.
No, I'm. Well, see, now he's gonna hear this.
Yeah.
But I think he'll give it. Yeah, I think he'll give it a 5 because he's a lot less critical with films than we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I bet because he's been waiting for this for so long. Yeah. Yeah, probably.
He'll just be sitting in the theater.
Now he's gonna hear this and go, "Nope, I'm gonna give it a 2."
Just because.
Just because he said that. Okay.
I don't think in his heart, his childhood heart, you know, could give it a 2.
I don't think so. No. It's like me with Toy Story. You know,
yeah.
I can't give it any less than 4.
Yeah. You already go in at a 4.
Exactly. And then just goes up from there.
Yeah.
All right. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
This has been getting a lot of flack for it not making as much money.
Well, there's reasons for that. Obviously, this is a sequel to 2015?
Question mark?
Jurassic World? I think it was 2015.
Which actually did really well. It's like the biggest of the year as far as like box office goes.
No, that one was good. The sequel, however. So, here's basically the plot. So we find Claire, who is now running this non-profit organization about trying to save the remaining dinosaurs on the island, because the island is going to explode because of a dormant volcano. And
like
so...
Location.
Yeah.
Did a horrible job with location.
And so people are protesting, save the dinosaurs, don't save the dinosaurs, what do we do? Should we just let them go extinct again? Should we,
That is kind of an interesting modern take as far as like an idea, because everybody's all about saving the animals, but not wanting them to go to extinct.
But these animals were created by us, by man. They were manufactured, and so there's an argument to be made there. And
there's a little bit of a distance between normal animals.
And so what ends up happening is this guy ends up recruiting Claire to go save these species. Say they can save 11 species. They have this big plot of land that they're going to relocate them to where they can live in peace, blah, blah, blah.
No, this movie doesn't have an agenda at all.
No, not at all. And so she recruits Owen again, Chris Pratt, and they go to the island
of Dr. Moreau.
Try to save these dinosaurs, but it turns out that the people that recruited them had a different agenda. Surprise, surprise. And so now it's a battle to save these dinosaurs from these other people, and now they're off the island, and now they're back in this mansion, and it falls apart. The stuff on the island is good, and that's where they should have stayed.
Yeah.
That's where Jurassic Park is good, when you are on the island, because you are the only people on this island filled with things that will kill you.
Right.
It makes for an interesting story. When you flip that and you bring the dinosaurs into our world, into human population, not so much of a threat anymore. You know? Because, I mean, look at... It's like what they did with the second Jurassic Park, the original. When they brought the T-Rex to San Francisco, it lost its
muck. And,
it did, but it lost its coolness, its intimidation factor, because
it's not the biggest threat anymore.
Exactly, and seeing a dinosaur running around in a city, it's not interesting. Visually or story wise, unless it's
as big as like Godzilla.
Yeah. If it's towering over skyscrapers, then it's a threat. It's interesting. Great. So they had a lot of callbacks to the other Jurassic Park films. A lot of story beats, like beat
we have to
for
hit this
beat.
one. Hit.
Yeah. Which I don't know if they did that on purpose. So if they did, fantastic. If they didn't, then
they just fall back into the same routine.
Same formula. So yeah, this sequel's kind of a mess, I'm not gonna lie.
Think they'll clean it up and try to do a third?
Probably. But here's the other thing.
Redeem themselves?
Here's the other thing. If you think about the first Jurassic Park and how great those dinosaurs looked, those effects looked, and that was in 1993.
Yeah.
Now you have these dinosaurs in this new one that look ridiculous. I mean, they try to make them so realistic that they look completely fake.
But they don't fit in. You've got grass and trees and everything else around it, and then you've got these creatures that don't fit in that world.
Right. And like this new dinosaur that they created, because you have to create a new one, it looks...
That's a requirement.
It looks ridiculous. You know, they try to make it look scary and everything, but it looks kind of dumb. And I am tired of them creating new dinosaurs. Anyway. And you know how the Indominus in the last one was a combination between T-Rex and Velociraptor, right?
Yeah.
Well, this new one is a new hybrid raptor of a raptor and a T-Rex.
Oh,
again, so you're like, we've done this.
Yeah.
We've seen this.
I want to see a Stegosaurus mixed with a raptor.
Why are you doing this again? Let's leave the T-Rex and the raptors alone. Let's focus on something else.
Yeah.
Well, then you get the Spinosaurus in the third Jurassic Park movie, and that turned out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, out of 5 dinosaurs, I'm like a 2.
Okay.
There are some good action scenes. There are some good visuals, but overall, it falls apart. So then the last one,
yes,
that I just saw Friday. Joni and I went and watched it. It's Won't You Be My Neighbor, which is a documentary on Mr. Rogers.
Which actually looks really awesome.
It is amazing.
Really?
It is so good. Because we live in a world right now where everybody, is angry. Everybody, there's a lot of hate around. There's, all this stuff going on, and you forget that there was this guy that was on television for years that just talked about loving each other, loving yourself, accepting who you are, accepting who others are, loving others for their differences, not hating them for their differences, just being generally nice and kind to everyone you meet. And it's sad to watch it because in this day and age, Mr. Rogers never would have worked.
Right.
You can't have a Mr. Rogers now. It wouldn't have worked. Because there's a movie reviewer I watched called Jeremy Johns on YouTube, and he was talking about this movie. And he said the same thing. He said this never would work because eventually, if you had a Mr. Rogers in this day and age, eventually his show would end up on YouTube, and then you'd go to the comment section.
And there would be just like
and it'd be nothing but hate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it wouldn't work. It was perfect for the time. But man, I broke down several times.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, and cried. Joni was tearing up. She was crying. Just because,
you've forgotten how big of an influence, and like a lot of people have kind of forgotten his message at the core of it.
And you forgot how it made you feel. Mm-hmm. Like I remember watching Mr. Rogers as a kid, and it didn't affect me that much. But when you see those clips again, it affects you a totally different way when you're an adult.
Because then you feel like you almost, after you do the movie, you have to go back out into this other world.
Into this horrible world, yeah.
Yeah. So for those 2 hours,
Yes, for those 2 hours, you actually have faith in humanity. And it's great. And it's, the other thing that was great is to know that he was the same off screen as he was on.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mother Teresa.
Like, when the cameras weren't rolling, he was the exact same person.
Which is nice because, like, you would love to think that's the way that celebrities are, but then, like, on screen, right? On screen, they're one way, and then off screen, they're, like, doing horrible stuff yeah.
I even remember back in 2003, the year that Fred Rogers died, I went and saw Bill Cosby live.
Mm-hmm.
At Kingsbury Hall, I think it was, doing a stand-up. And before he started, he walked out, he placed a chair and a sweater around. He said, let's have a moment of silence for Mr. Rogers and everything that he's done. And then knowing what Mr. Rogers was like in real life, and then knowing what Bill Cosby was like in real life, just makes me angry now to think about it.
Ugh.
It's like, don't even speak that guy's name.
Yeah.
Cosby. It's like, you're not even worthy enough
on the same level.
Yeah, to tie that guy's shoes. But yeah, it was great. And it'll make you feel good. It'll make you, bring the tissues. Bring the tissues. You're gonna cry. Yeah, it'll give you some hope. And out of 5, puppets, I'm at a 5.
Really?
Yes.
Oh man, I didn't even see this movie.
It's great because children and adult alike loved this man, and you could see there were clips of him when he went and talked in front of Congress about saving public television. There was this congressman that didn't want to, he was tired of people reading statements. He didn't want to hear anymore.
Was it very reminiscent of like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But then Mr. Rogers gets up there and totally softens this guy's heart. He ends up winning $20 million for public television just because he didn't even have a prepared speech. He just spoke from the heart and spoke why he does what he does. There was another clip where he was on this talk show with a guy, and Mr. Rogers busted out the Daniel the Lion puppet and was talking to the interview as Daniel the Lion, and you could see that the interviewer was just getting sucked into this. And after he put the puppet away, the interviewer just sat there for a moment. He was just like, "Wow,
yeah,
that was great." You know, it's just it'll just make you feel good. Is what I'm saying.
Sweet.
So, yeah, but absolutely 5.
I'm glad you saved this one for the end here.
Yeah. All right.
End on a good note.
Yep. And that being said, here's where you can find all of our episodes.
Let's end this episode on a good note.
Yes. You can find all of our episodes at worldwarg.podbean.com. Also on the Cosmic Potato Network, cosmicpotato.com. You can also find us on iTunes and Google Play. Just search World War G. On the social media, you can find us at facebook.com/World War G podcast. On Twitter and Instagram, you can find us at WWG Podcast. If you want to follow my personal Instagram, I've been doing a lot over there. You can search me at Pepsi Always Okay. If you want to follow me. You can find all of our t-shirts and other merchandise at shop.spreadshirt.com/WorldWarG. You can email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. Also remember, you can call or text the show at any time at 385-240-1692. Just leave a message. So, this has been World War G, episode 181. That's been AJ.
That's been Troy.
Stay geeky, my friends, and won't you be my neighbor?
That's all, folks.